Ready? Here he is. Oh, that is a slab. Big gill, big gill.
Got him. Plenty more where that came from sitting here.
Look at the size of that crappie. Game on. Hey everybody, welcome back to this week's show. No, I'm not doing a cooking segment. We are actually heading up to Lake Gogebic to hook up with our good friend Justin Soffa. And if you guys remember Justin, he is all about big perch. Like, them guys catch some of the biggest perch in the country up on that lake. But this time we're actually going after crappies. So hang on to your hindies. I'm gonna finish cooking us some lunch here. We're gonna jump in the truck. We got about a 4-hour run. It's about 3 in the morning. We're gonna be up there fishing and it's gonna be an awesome day. He's on a great crappie bite.
I have a slip bobber out in case we want to catch any giant bluegills.
Typically when I come up here by you, it's all hard water. This time, obviously soft water. I've always wanted to fish with you up here. I know you always have big things going on, but we're not fishing perch today.
Today we're gonna primarily target the crappies. We might get some perch mixed in.
Okay.
Maybe a bonus giant bluegill, because there are some giant bluegills in here too. You know, you see it with the perch when you catch them in the winter time.
They're just humongous.
And they always have mayfly larvae just packed in their gullets. And it seems like every week I come out here, there's something else that is hatched, and the fish are just always really active. Big one.
Yep, I got a net. I didn't even think about getting a net ready for crappie fishing, but them are big crappies. You start net. Oh, that is a slab. All right, Justin, got the first one. You had the first one and you got the second one. Holy man, look at the size of that crappie. Look at the shoulders on them.
Yeah, they are very thick, very wide, very healthy fish in this lake.
That's what I always say about everything on this body of water. It's just got good build to it.
We're gonna try using some paddle tails to start. That's usually my go-to out here. During the mayfly hatch, we'll switch it up to some buggier looking baits though. Started off with a little 2-inch paddle tail. We had the one big crappie that we lost next to the boat, but then I was getting peppered by bluegills a lot, so I decided to switch it up to just a little bit bigger paddle tail. And what do you know, first cast I threw out there, I nailed that nice crappie.
I went to a little bit heavier jig, tungsten, and a little bit bigger tail, that Kalen's tail right there, and that's a perfect size. I'm gonna keep about 10 to eat. Something about crappies, I don't know, man.
That one looks delicious.
That does, that's a perfect eater right there. Really, there's so much to having the right profile of bait. Like whatever they're feeding on, if these fish are off the bug hatch and onto a minnow bite, the minnows that they're eating, that's a crucial thing. You look at that one that Justin just caught. Them are huge crappies, and they can, look at the mouth on this one. This is just an average, 10, 11 incher. When you start getting the big ones like that, they can slurp down a pretty big bait. I'm using a 7-foot Mags custom rod. This right here is one of my favorite rods. It's the Light Mod Fast 8-pound test fire line, and I'm using an 8-pound, about a 3-foot fluorocarbon leader. This is one of the new jigs. It's called a show jig. And this is by Kalen's, basically just with some plastic on it and kind of just rolling it real slow, not popping it at all. As a guide, a lot of times you get kind of caught up in what's always worked for you in the past. And sometimes when you get other people in the boat, they do something a little bit different, and that can make a big difference. Another crappie. Not any of the big ones like Justin's catching, but I'm on the eater style right there. This one's a little bit small. I'm gonna let him go. I'm gonna change and see how big a profile I can go with my plastic. That one. Rock bass? Holy man. That's a good sized rock bass. I wanna talk about this. Why don't people eat rock bass? They're absolutely delicious. There's nothing wrong with rock bass whatsoever. I just don't get it, right? It's been years since I've eaten one. But the meat is firm on them. Tell me, why don't they eat rock bass?
They're just ugly.
That's why, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I know I don't eat sheephead because they're really fishy tasting for the most part, unless they're small. But rock bass are not that bad to eat. I mean, I've had people like guiding. I said, hey, you want to keep them rock bass? They like look at you like you said something foul to them, right? You had that look on your face just now.
Yeah, they, crap in, crap out.
Nice crappie. again, I'm catching the eaters. Justin's catching all the big fish, which is kind of common for him, right? They're just engulfing that, using that tungsten, Kalen's tungsten, and some plastic right there, the old crappie scrub. Loving it.
In the mornings, I like to try the shallower stuff first. Because a lot of times what these fish will do, I've come out here crappie fishing in the evenings, or all day even, tried and true, when the sun hits the trees, the big fish come out. That's not the case out here when you're fishing this structure, especially the deeper stuff. I think when the sun starts going down, they push into those weeds. We're sitting on kind of a big weed flat, but there's some hard structure in here, like we're fishing a fish crib right now, and those fish will just kind of gravitate towards it. You can catch them in the weeds spotty, but I just like to go to a spot where they kind of congregate a little bit more. High percentage areas, you know, when you find that, it could be a giant boulder, you know, mixed in with the weeds, a tree or brush, a crib, anything. And those fish just kind of generally will hang around that structure. I like using a little bit heavier bobber than I need, because a lot of times I'll do when I'm fishing deeper is I'll just throw a slip weight on there. An important thing when you do that is I got this rubber bead on here, and I put that above my swivel. You don't want that tungsten or lead, that weight, hitting your knot, because when you're using this really light line, it doesn't take much to
nick it and
ruin it. So I've got 7 pound as my main line, but then from here down I'm running 4 pound.
Okay.
And I'll just throw just a small jig on it. I try to avoid using hooks. I prefer a jig. They'll swallow the hooks.
Yeah, right. You're not killing so many fish.
Yep. And then, you know, with the bluegills, I just pinch off a chunk of worm, and it doesn't have to be much for them to eat it.
So what's the purpose with a bobber being like a double bobber?
Just visual. This bobber, you can send it out with this weight a long ways. And then when you get in waves and stuff too, just really easy to see.
Is that homemade or what is that?
No, the bobber brand is actually called Stands.
Stands, huh?
Stands. I find them in Mercer, Wisconsin, but some of the other local bait shops carry them too. He puts these grommets on here because the plastic can wreck your line too, and he has grommets on the top and the bottom of the bobber, and it just keeps your line, you know, nice and strong.
Yeah, that looks like a very cool bobber. You know, it's amazing when you start thinking about fishing. A lot of people just like, they're always thinking about doing something different and reinventing things. Just electronics alone, things get a little tough sometimes because these fish do get a lot of pressure in areas. So by doing something different, like with that bobber, really can make a night and day difference. And we talk about this a lot, I actually sometimes get sick of saying it. Little things make such a huge difference. So the way he's got that bobber set up, that rig, really can make a huge difference between you catching a few fish versus catching a pile of fish. Crappie. Yep, we see that lake trout again, god darn. There we go. Yep, I just went with a little bit different plastic too, just to try something different. I don't know if it was the plastic or if it was just moving back onto that structure a little bit more. Just rolling that reel as slow as I can reel it.
The first fish on the slip bobber right away was a rock bass. When I went to reset my line, I slid my bobber stop down a couple of feet, so I want it to be a little bit higher in the water column. Generally, if you're on the rock bass, you're fishing a little bit too low. With forward sonar, you know, you can kind of see or have a pretty good idea of what the fish is going to be before you even make your cast. The bluegills, when they're on the structure, they will stack up almost straight vertically, and then the crappies, their schools will be kind of horizontally around it. The rock bass, the walleyes, the perch, they're generally on the lower, I'd say 25% of the water column. I pushed it again, he ate it.
So true about watching that line jump, right? Because you're really not feeling that bite. Ooh, the old giller.
Not the biggest guy. He's pretty.
Yep, pretty fish. Wasn't afraid to smoke that plastic though.
Wasn't afraid to eat the plastic.
That is a pretty fish. Everything out of this lake is like that.
It'll get bigger, buddy. This isn't one of those lakes where you got to dance the bait around. More times than not, I can just cast it out and just give it a slow retrieve like you see Larry's doing here. Hovers that bait just above them is kind of what you want to do. Crappies are almost always looking up, and the location where their eyes are too. They got those big black eyes on them.
Right.
They're kind of looking towards the surface all the time. I like using this lighter colored line, this bright line.
Watch it jump?
So I'll watch it jump because crappies are really good at, they'll do an up bite. So they'll just knock slack in their line. So you'll be watching your line as you're retrieving, and it'll be taut, and then all of a sudden it'll dip down in the water, and you could just set the hook on it right there, and 99% of the time you'll be hooked up on a crappie. Oh, there it was.
There you go, nice job. Cork down, cork down. The cork is prevailing big time now, huh?
Yep, when it comes to bluegills, it's hard to beat a slip bobber.
I don't know how anybody wouldn't like to catch bluegills. Oh, almost seems like we're down on the Madison chain, right? But there's no noise, no traffic. How many inches do you think that one is?
Bet that one's all a 9, I would say.
I was gonna say that's super, super wide.
So you can see this one's a hen. It's a little bit faded colors.
Yeah.
Doesn't have the bright orange belly on it. Still got that very nice turquoisey, big bluegill on it. Larry, you might think I'm a little bit goofy on this.
I think all fishermen are.
So a lot of the trees and cribs and stuff that I fish, they're highly decorated. It looks like Christmas probably year round with all the jigs I've stuck in them. So one thing I actually started doing when I'll use like a lighter wire hook.
Okay.
So I'm all about light drag when you catch these fish anyways. You don't want to pull it out of their soft mouths. As I will actually bend the hook before I put my plastic on there, and I'll take it out of the package and bend the hook out just to soften it just a little bit.
So you're taking, I think it's called, I could be wrong, I think you're taking out the temper of it, right? Yep.
Like I was just hung up on that crib, and instead of losing my tungsten jig, all I did was bend that hook, and I can easily just press it back.
And if you're not going to use a weedless by taking that temper out of that hook, out of that metal, as long as you're not putting a ton of pressure on them fish, you're going to get your jig back most of the time. That's a great tip.
It gets expensive when you're using, a lot of companies are going to that tungsten and lead-free stuff, not just for its benefits, being more dense and more sensitive, but you're not putting lead in the water that way as well.
Ooh, a real nice crappie. I put that tickle shad on there too. You know what I was saying before? I wanted to kind of change up to see if I could get some bigger ones. Think about that. Like typically that's something I'd use for smallmouth or use for walleyes, not crappies. But that thing had no problem slurping that in there. That one's got it buried too, huh?
Yep, he made that disappear real quick. So what I like to do here is where we started was in structure in 10 feet of water, 12 feet of water, 13. Well, now that it's middle of the day, it's like 11 o'clock now, we slid out to some structure in 19 feet of water. And then when you come out here and look, there's structure in 19 feet, 20 feet, 26 feet.
Got a lot of options.
There's a lot of choices here. So typically in the morning when there's still shallow from spending the night in the weeds and whatever, I target them there. But then as the day goes on, I'll slide out a little bit deeper.
Walleye! There we go. Can't come to Lake Gogebic and not catch a walleye on the old tickle shad. Guy was on Winnebago, I'd go in the live well. Winnebago being the largest inland lake in the state of Wisconsin. I was a little skeptical about the 3 fish limit. I wanted a size limit or a slot limit, which I definitely think would make a tremendous difference on that body of water for sure. Green Bay definitely needs it. I've been fishing Green Bay for a long time, way before it got popular. Fished it for going on 40 years now. There's definitely not the numbers of walleyes out there that there used to be. It's all about really protecting the resource, and nowadays with all the technology, with electronics, I think just being responsible is a huge thing, but kind of making some adjustments would be really helpful to these bodies of water. Fish. Woohoo! Look at that. I really downsized. Went to, the wind went down to nothing again. And what I did is I went to one of the Kalen's 16th ounce jig and went to a little smaller profile plastic again, and game on. I mean, that's what it took. That fall ratio so many times can make a night and day difference.
It's almost like the days when you had a Harley and you were waving to the guy on a bike. You see another warrior on the water, you just get a good feel.
First class, all the way from the people that ride them to the people that make them.
They do such a nice job with communication. They'll pick up the phone anytime. It's really almost a friendship.
You could be in any state, and when somebody with a warrior drives by you, you get that honk, that beat. You're truly part of a family, and there's nothing like it.
Introducing Forever Barnwood. Transform your space with the warmth and character of a genuine barnwood look. Forever Barnwood offers over 200 authentic barnwood products. We are commercial and food safe. Our products are available in unlimited quantities while still providing the consistency you need to complete large projects. All of this while still looking like it came out of a 100-year-old barn. Forever Barnwood. Bring the history inside.
Good fish. Ready? Here he is. Game on! There's nothing wrong with spending the day with Justin Soffa and doing a little crappie fishing. We caught a pile of crappies, pile of bluegills. He said to me, hey, I got this walleye spot. It's just up a little bit. Are you interested in catching walleyes? I'm like, are you kidding me? I put my favorite bait on.
First cast.
Boom, down. Nice.
There's plenty more where that came from sitting here.
And I got more spoons if you want one too. My favorite rod to use for this is a 7-foot medium fast, of course, Meg's custom rod. I'm using a 15-pound test fluorocarbon leader on there. The abrasion definitely holds up to any big fish. Hammered shiver spoon, 3/4 ounce on this one. And this one, a lot of times I'll tie it direct, but this one I've got a snap on it now. Gives it just a little bit different action. 10-pound test braid on there. You really got to get the cadence down. Sometimes they want it where you rip it really hard and let it fall fast. Other times it's shorter pops, and today it's definitely a little bit shorter pops. If it was super rough out, I'd be ripping that bait like crazy and bringing it way off the bottom and letting it fall. But when you don't have a lot going on, you can see how calm it is. Again, trying to match what would be natural going on. So, and most of the time, it's a good rule of thumb.
This is your time, man.
Here we go, man. Justin's just sitting there watching. Look at the way this one just absolutely crushed that spoon. If you were gonna say I can only use one artificial bait, it would definitely be this one. Got him. Walleye after walleye after walleye, I'm loving it. Oh yeah, I tell you something, life is awful good. And most of the time, it's what you make of it. If you wanna make it good, for the most part, it can be good. All right.
Still following it.
Got him. Now this fish was up real high, saw that spoon coming down. Nice one. I thought he was a lot bigger than what he is. Man, these fish can fight. That one just charged right at it. I'm loving that right there. Another nice fish. Justin, when you think about, I'm gonna let this one go. We got plenty of fish. Really, all the different species you have to fish out here. I mean, smallmouth, walleyes, crappies, perch, bluegills, and man, the rock bass are absolutely incredible.
There he is.
Got him, nice.
He hit that hard and fast.
Came up for mine, but he smoked yours.
What's he gonna be?
Ooh,
Don't be Reggie.
got something good going on there, son. Oh shoot, I just missed him. Oh yeah, that is a beautiful gill.
A little extra storage room there, I guess.
Jeez, like a squirrel.
Yeah, that's got to be pushing 10.
Yeah, that's a giant. Big gill, big gill.
I mean, that fish hit that with authority.
I love the UP anyways. Like I was saying earlier this morning, it's one of my favorite places to be. It's the scenic value, right? I mean, it's so beautiful up here. I love at night how dark it gets. You don't have that light pollution. The stars, you feel like you can just reach up and grab them. A lot of times people that watch our show live in big cities. It's so important that they get out and enjoy this part. It's not just the fishing alone, it's the whole experience, and just to real experience the quietness of being out here, especially in the UP.
Amen to that.
Amen.
When you can look around us, there's no wakes, there's no boats.
Not a bad place. All right, this is enough. It's hard to stop. I can't stop. It's an addiction. What a great addiction to have. You never get sick of catching fish. Doesn't matter what kind of fish it is. Panfish, walleyes. Another walleye. Boy, I'll tell you what, Justin, this has been one heck of a great experience, and it always is fishing with you, from winter fishing to open water fishing. Let's talk a little bit about all the different things you do. You fish lake trout too, right? You do some muskie fishing too?
You name it, I like to catch it. Big northern pike. I was showing you some pictures earlier. Those northern pike there.
Some huge pike.
They're just so fast and so strong. And a lot of times we get to sight fish them, and you just see how fast they close a big gap between your bait and where they're sitting. They're absolute missiles. Yeah, do some muskie fishing, a lot of smallmouth, a lot of crappie and panfish. Hands down, my favorite fish to eat for table fare is bluegills.
Your smallmouth fishing in the fall here is absolutely fantastic.
It's one of the best fishing for smallmouth that you can ever experience. And they're mean. We're just fishing deep rock, deep gravel. It's kind of spots where they're going to winter in. So once that water gets into those 40s, you know, they'll start really pushing on that stuff hard. You know, once they get into like October, even when the water's in the 50s, they'll start pushing out of the shallows. I think there's the full moon in October. I believe there's a crayfish molt that goes on, so they'll push up shallow during that time as well. But then once that molt is over, I think everything kind of pushes back into the deeper stuff. I think the most we had was like 22 or 23 casts in a row last fall, where you caught when that was between 3 pounds to 5.5 pounds.
Them are big smallmouth anywhere. All right, let's wrap her up because I'm not casting anymore. I sure like to, but I'm not.
It's hard. He said one more fish, and it turned into 3 more fish. So
that is true.
I can't blame him because the fish were definitely here.
Holy schmoly, what do you got there? Yes, indeed. It is amazing, the amount of fish in this body of water.
It's my favorite.
I can see why, I can tell you that.
When you can stick your finger down her mouth.
Yeah, bluegill's mouth, that's impressive.
Another nice hen.
Another one?
Oh yeah, this could go on for 2 hours.
That's crazy. Fish after fish, walleye, bluegill, crappies, rock bass.
Just got the female, now we got the male.
1,000 of them out there. Let's tell everybody how they can get a hold of you to come out and do some of this fantastic fishing. Definitely multi-species, and talk about big fish.
You can either look me up on Facebook. I've got a website, www.justfishupnorth.com, or you can get a hold of me on my cell phone, 715-360-5974.
Buddy, what an awesome day we had. You know what, I'll tell you, like we do each and every week. Always want to thank all of our military men and women for the great service they have given this country and continue to give this country, along with all of our firefighters and paramedics. It is a great day to be alive, everybody. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.